Hey everyone, welcome to round number 4 of the APRL Pro-Am Series. This week we're on the 24-hour layout of the Nurburgring Nordschleife, which just includes the GP layout, the longer of the two GP layouts. So a bit of a tricky track to get your head around. Spent a bit of practice this week just trying to get some good lap times in. I was fairly confident knowing the track. It was just about being quick and consistent. There's a few times racing this in the past where I've just struggled in the middle sector and lose a lot of time. So spend a bit of time on this week. So hopefully that practice paid off. As you can see, I'm qualifying down in 8th position. Had a bit of a rough time. I ended up going off on the warm-up lap, and there's heavy damage turned on for the qualifying as well as the race, and went into the wall in the out lap of all things. So I had to nurse the car back around to the start line and then do my quali lap with damage. So bit off the pace. I think if I'd actually got my good lap in, I might have been up around 4th or 5th. So it was a bit painful to have to try and do that, but happy that I qualified where I did anyway. A couple of other people had some damage in the qualifying as well, so did okay. As you can also see probably from the screen, I've got a different livery this week, so this is my first time using the actual NRG livery that I'll be running through the whole season. It was actually created by Bardo, who is also NRG, starting down in 12th, but you can probably tell by both of our liveries, they're quite similar, but he made the one that I'm using. So I'll just get a bit of a look at it. Went with the purple and the silver. It's actually got like the silvery metallic color to it, which I quite liked. So he made the livery. I just changed the colors and added a few of my own details, the Southern Cross, the fish and chips, of course. But yeah, pretty cool livery. As I said, I run this for the rest of the season, just to show off the team that I'm in. As I said, just running default NRG racing decals for this the first few races, and then eventually I get placed into a team. So new livery. I was hoping to have a good race running these for the first time. Starting from 8th, 6 laps. The mandatory tyres are medium and soft, so you have to run both. You have to pit, so you can't just run a medium for the whole race. Not a ton of strategy variations, to be honest. I think it's for a lot of people, there's a pretty set way to race. I think I do end up having a bit of a variable strategy to the rest of the people in the grid, though. So you'll see how that plays out. But starting in 8th, I'll go through the grid. First place is Tricky. Second place is Angus. Third place is Badge. New colour on his livery this week. Last one he was in pink. This time he's gone white. He changes it pretty much every race. Put your bets in what colour will be next week. Unless you're in Pro-Ams, of course, then you already know. But yeah, put some bets into what colour comes next week. 4th is Pity. 5th is Dank. Same colours. Boring. 6th is Bob. 7th is Speedy. Myself in 8th. Atlantis in 9th. Tank in 10th. I believe Tank had a bit of an incident in the outlap, so he might have had damage in qualifying, so I think that harmed him in his quali lap, unfortunately. So back in 10th again. Well, not again, but toward the back again. But quick guy, so he should be making his way up the grid throughout the race. 11th is V-Man. 12th is Bardo. I think he had damage definitely on the outlap, so unfortunately he had to limp home. Had a rough one, so starting quite far back, but does make some moves forward. And then in last is Josh. We've only got 13 on the grid this week. Started 16 at the start of the season, but people just pulled out or weren't able to attend. So the grid does vary between 14 drivers for the rest of the season. We had two people pulling out by now. So yeah, usually 14 drivers maximum. So so as I said, 6 laps. mediums and softs. I started on the mediums. It was the better strategy to go because we start quite early in the morning. Like at this point, the track is freezing cold because it's about sunrise, I think. So running the softs, you sort of risk not getting the tyre temp up as fast as you would like for the grip that you would need, and then by the time the tyres are warm enough, you've lost your grip. So better to run on the mediums where they last a little bit longer, and by the time they're warm, they're not worn out, and you can still use the grip that you've got. So I think everybody, I don't know, Bob's went softs, Petty's went softs, Angus went softs, and Tricky. So, quite a few people on softs. I think the only people that didn't were bloody NRG by the looks of it. Yeah. Oh, and Josh, of course, at the back. It makes a lot of sense to start on the worst of the two tyres. But yeah, it looks like an NRG medium strat and everyone else is on soft. So be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, you'll lose some track position, but this track is pretty hard to pass on, as you'll see throughout the race. So anyway, I'll get the race started, talk throughout it, just like last week, and yeah, we'll see how we go. Mic hopefully should be a bit better this week. I've swapped headsets, so it should sound a bit clearer, and I've also tweaked the volume, so hopefully I'm a bit louder this week. I sort of realised late last week that I had pretty rough quality, so yeah, coming to turn one, not much should happen here. I think everyone just usually tries to play it safe into the first turn. You don't want to just go taking somebody out first corner, so probably could have made the move, but I just wanted to keep it safe. Don't want to take out my own teammates, so yeah, just starting in, trying to get the race going, trying to get the tyre temps up. Try not to run into the back of Speedy, which I always do there. Would not be ideal. At this point, Atlantis is breathing down my neck. I think I knew he was on softs based on his pace, but as you see there, almost ran to the back of Speedy yet again, so I had to avoid him and go wide, so I let Atlantis go up the middle, but that doesn't bother me too much. It's the start of the race, anything can happen. So jumping forward halfway through the lap, just made it onto the Nordschleife. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a gap to V-Man. I was quite close up to Atlantis, but just dipped two wheels into the grass coming out of that corner, which I cannot remember the name of. Half the corners I'll know when I hear them, but I can never remember the names of them, so yeah, don't expect me to start quoting them in this race, but just got a poor run into that straight, which is it's quite an important corner. You wanna take as fast as you can, so you get a really good run going down that long sweeping straight. And yeah, any compromise to your exit is pretty rough. So I had a poor run, but still was hanging on to the back of Atlantis. So just trying to stick with him. As I said, pulled a little bit of a gap to V-Man. Josh is already up into 11th, which is yeah, the first few corners of the lap are always pretty tricky. I believe something happens here actually. Yeah, we'll go back a little bit. I remember this happening in the voice, and it was pretty chaotic, so I think maybe just didn't expect just dipped two wheels into the grass, didn't slow down far enough, punted V-Man forward, and then got punted by Bardo, and then Tank comes flying through, so pretty rough start to the race. So I think at this point, this Tank, yeah. At this point, I think after having a rough qualifying, it's pretty hard to start the race and then start with damage. As I said, this race and last race, you've got heavy damage, so you wear it till you pit. If you get any damage in this middle, in the Nordschleife part of the track, it's pretty rough because you have to limp home and you can lose quite a lot of time throughout the lap. I think when I was doing my quali, I lost about like 8 seconds just on my damage alone, so it's pretty punishing, and yeah, it's a hard thing to do, to keep racing after you get damaged so early. So they managed to keep going, which is pretty commendable. But yeah, coming through here, coming onto one of the straights for the track. It's not really a straight, is it? It's more of a curved straight. but you're full throttle throughout. So didn't have a great run coming out of the corner, so had a pretty rough run into the straight. Can see up front Atlantis is right on the back of Speedy, so I think he'd be really wanting to get past. I think he might know at this point he's on different tyres, but yeah, it's really hard when you're on a better tyre than someone and you can't pass them, because you just sit there, you know that you're eating your tyre life. Your tyres are warming up, being behind them as they go off the track. Probably get some dirty tyres there, so yeah, you're stuck behind someone, your tyres are warming up and you just want to get past so you can go up the road, but you can't. It's a bit frustrating. It's pretty important to keep your cool when that's happening. But all I'm trying to do at the moment is, as I completely butcher the carousel, all I'm trying to do is, just be consistent for the lap. I know that my tyres are worse off at this point, and all I want to do is try and make it onto the softs so I can get some pace. I think at this point we all kind of knew, so for the races we all sort of joined together in a group call to go over the race briefing, but then we'll split off into team chats, and so during the race we're talking to each other in our team. We all kind of suspected that everybody else was on softs. I think we sort of felt like the people that were around us were going a bit quicker than us, so we were sort of thinking in our heads maybe that there might be the possibility of the race coming back to us in the latter parts if we can keep everyone at bay. So I think we just wanted to try and make the most of how bunched up the field is at this point. Going forward to the front, I think there's probably a bit of a gap. Badger's doing okay, but yeah, look at Tricky and Angus pulling away. Badger's holding on pretty well. Paddy's sort of closing on him, but yeah, bit of a gap pulled from everybody on the track, and all I'm trying to do at the moment is just stick to the back of these guys. Yeah, because of the incident behind, I knew that there was no chance of anyone coming up behind me, so yeah, all I'm trying to do is just stick to the back. Coming into lap number 2 onto the Nordschleife entry. As you can see in front, Atlantis has got in front of Speedy, so he should pull away at this point, being on the better tyres. The RCZ actually was okay on this track. It does okay with like straight line speed, but seems to struggle a little bit in the corners. So, but he's on better tyres, so he should be able to pull away. I'm just up behind Speedy at this point. This part of the track, well, I suppose the entire Nordschleife, it's really hard to pass. There's not a lot of great passing opportunities. You kind of have to make the move just forcefully happen. You can't just expect someone to, I guess you can't expect a decent amount of space to open up on a corner, because there's not a lot of heavy braking corners that aren't quite narrow, so it's a very narrow track and it's very hard to pass. Yeah, just tucking in behind him. He does pretty well in this part of the track. He does keep his pace up, so yeah, I wasn't too bothered to be sticking in behind him. But yeah, at this point I'm just sort of thinking, because when we did some testing, I found that my GTR, as I said in the previous race, it actually has pretty good fuel consumption. It does a little bit better than most other cars, and on this track, in the testing, the cars like the Porsche, Ferrari and the BMW, they all did about 3 laps, just over 3 laps maybe, on a full tank. Not necessarily fuel saving much, just shifting when you normally shift, not over revving. But my GTR did about 3.5 laps, or 3.6 laps, so at this point I'm just sort of thinking, because the option was there to do a 4-lap stint. The soft tyres actually do hold off pretty well for 4 laps, but the biggest concern really is the fuel. So I think at this point I'm just thinking, if I can manage 4 laps, I'll have the better tyre for 4 whole laps instead of only having them for 3, of course. So I was sort of playing in my head whether I should come in on this lap or whether I should do the 3 like everybody else. I guess at this point of the race, you really need to. Well, I guess in this position, maybe I would have done differently if I was further up in the standings. But you've got to try something different to try and I guess make some moves forward, because it's not a long race. It is 40 minutes, but there's not a lot of opportunities for people to make big mistakes. That can happen, but those opportunities don't necessarily come pretty easily. So yeah, I'm sort of thinking at this point, maybe I should come in this lap just to try and make up time being on the soft tyre and try and make some moves forward. So I guess it would be interesting to see how that actually played out. I think most people in this race are doing 3 laps on each tyre, which, as I said, gets you a full tank of fuel. And see here, Lattice, that was a really close to be pretty catastrophic here. Obviously, it goes a bit deep at the I forget the name of this corner, but yeah, it goes a bit deep, just misses braking point by a mile. And as I said in the previous race, there's no ghosting, but for a big enough speed differential, the person will ghost. So I guess if you don't know what ghosting is, it's pretty much your car will go invisible so you can drive through it if there's a big enough speed differential. So it detects if a car's stopped on a track. It's there to really prevent people from ramming into each other in online races, because it's a bit of a problem. So Polyphony's solution to that is to make a car disappear if there's a big enough speed differential. You can turn it off in your private lobbies, and it is turned off for these races. But there's like a specific speed differential which will always trigger ghosting. I'm not sure if it's speed differential 100% or if it's just the angle of the car. There's probably a lot going on in the background to determine if a car should be ghosted. But there's a specific amount which cannot be turned off, and you saw in the previous race when Tank was sort of sideways at the exit of the last turn, his car actually ghosted when I came up through past him. So you'll see it on this part here where his car isn't invisible. Speedy sees him not ghosted and tries to avoid him, but then at the very last second when I come through, he does disappear. And then that compromised turn put Speedy at a bit of a bad it puts him out a little bit, so I end up going past. I tried to give the pace back. I slowed down, but he came up behind and gave me a push, so I took that as a sign to just keep going. And I guess if he felt like he was faster, I'd let him back through. But yeah, I didn't really want to take the place. I felt like I didn't deserve to take that spot because of what actually caused it, but he let me go through. So, but unfortunately, right after that, I got a bloody penalty coming out of the carousel. I don't know, I think I just got a little bit unsettled, unfocused, and made a couple of mistakes. And you saw a couple of times I took a little bit too much curb coming down this part of the track, so just a little bit of my focus broken. But it didn't take me very long to get back into the rhythm, and yeah, pulled a little bit of a gap from Speedy just after a couple corners. This part of the track, I think I've grown to get a lot more confident in. You kind of have to send the car into a lot of the corners. It's a very commitment heavy part of the track, and it can go wrong pretty easily. So yeah, just a lot of practice helped, just trying to get more confident with this part of the track. So I'm decently quick through it. Obviously not as quick as some people, but yeah, quick enough to be competitive in this race. So pulled a little bit of a gap to Speedy at this point. Not sure if he had damage at this point or something. No, just fell off a little bit. So yeah, I was at this point just not too worried about having to give a position back. I do have a penalty though, so what will happen as I go really wide, that corner is another really tricky one where it's really easy to get too much curb and then you get sent into the wall. It does happen to somebody later in the race, but yeah, it's really easy to go wide on that corner. So I had a really compromised exit to that onto the straight, which that's another corner where it's really important to get a good exit because you want a lot of space. So yeah, at this point I signaled to Speedy to go past me, and I think we weren't talking much on voice, so I was trying to tell him to go by me because I knew at this point I wanted to pit, but he was just pushing me along. So being a good guy, just trying to get my speed back up because I had that penalty. So yeah, I kind of wanted him to go past because I knew I wanted to pit and I didn't want him to be compromised. So yeah, as I alluded to earlier, I came into the pit. So yeah, as you can see, after 2 laps, I've used half my tank. Which that means I can get about 4 laps if I saved a little bit more. Of course, like for the first few laps, you're not really using a lot of fuel because everybody's sort of bunched up, so you're not really sending it into into the corners. You're not really sending it too hard. So you do save a little bit more fuel in the first opening couple laps. So I knew that I'd probably have to save a little bit in the race just to make it work, but so Atlantis also came. I think, yeah, he's got damage, so probably just wanted to shake that off. He probably wasn't having the best time with both front and rear damage. So in the racing, I guess in the race, if you get front damage, what that usually does is just reduce your front downforce, and that prevents your car from turning into corners. You get a lot of understeer, but you also lose a lot of speed on the straight, so it's pretty bad for this track. Both in the fact that you understeer into these corners, which is really important to get good lines into them, but you also lose a lot of speed on the long straight and the Dottinger. So front damage will yeah, pretty much do that to your car. Rear damage is a bit different, and usually it just prevents your car from being stable in the back end. These GT3 cars have rear diffusers, which give you rear downforce alongside the wing, and that just prevents your car from stepping out whenever you put power down in the corners. So having both front and rear might actually work together in tandem, but because you're getting both understeer and oversteer, but yeah, that loss in speed is really what kills you. So yeah, so coming on the softs, just trying to get some good laps in, trying to make up the difference. At this point, I'm on a softer tyre for a lap. Well, I suppose I'm on the same tyre as most of the other grid, or most of the grid, but I'm just trying to reduce that deficit so that when they come out of the pits, I'm as close to them as I can be. So yeah, just trying to probably push a little bit too hard. As you can see, I got a little bit wider on a couple corners. That's sort of the problem when you come out on a better tyre. You've got in this mindset that you need to be quick, so you push, and then you can actually over push, go too fast, too hard into the corners, and you end up going wide or missing your braking point. So just trying to find the grip level, and yeah, just trying to push as hard as I can to try and make up that deficit. Yeah, just noticed I've caught the back of Bardo here. I believe he has a little bit of damage, well, bit of damage, front end damage completely, from the incident earlier on, so his pace is pretty off, and it's really tricky because you got to decide, do I pit now to repair my damage, or do I come in when I'm supposed to? Because if you come in early, you either have to fuel save pretty significantly to be able to make it to the end of the race, or you have to pit twice. So you kind of have to do that mental math of what's my lap time compared to if I had no damage, and is that worth coming in for an extra pit. Looking at his times aren't too bad, honestly, like not ideal, but maybe 10 seconds off where what an ideal race pace lap should be. So yeah, I say he made the right call coming out, but staying out, but he's just, yeah, unfortunately just got damaged. It's just, he just has to make it around this one more lap, and yeah, come in to repair it all. But yeah, I've just caught the back of him. It's a bit tricky sometimes in these races, because when people that are further up in the field come into pit and they end up behind sort of the back markers, it's really difficult. You have to try and navigate through traffic. It's not always the case that you'll get by easily, and it's not like they're blue flagged, so they don't have to just give you space. But yeah, fortunately Bardo gives me some space there. I think he knows he's damaged and he sees me coming flying up behind him, so it gives me the space. I give him a little bit of a thank you for that. Made it easy for me, which yeah, it was good on him for doing that. So didn't have to work too hard for that, but there are definitely times where you pit, you come in and you've got back markers and they won't move. So you've got to find ways through, which can be frustrating, because you just want to get by them. You know that they're going to pit soon, and you're like, nah, just get out of my way so I can get past you and keep my pace up, because you're not battling them, you're battling people at different points that might not have pit. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky thing to manage. But yeah, coming onto the Dottinger for lap number 3, everybody at this point is coming into pit. So yeah, at this point it's really just waiting to see what people would come out at what point. Just trying to see whether my yeah, I guess whether my pace was good enough for the outlap to make any positions up in the field, and yeah, hopefully I come out sort of ahead of where I went in, which was just in front of Speedy. So yeah, well, I guess we'll see where I end up coming out. The front sort of 3 have already just come out of the pits, so yeah, I was a decent way behind them, so I think I knew that I wasn't battling with them at all. But yeah, just come out. So I see that Bob's just come out of the pits there in front of me, so yeah, made a little bit of ground, because Bob was quite far up the track, and I don't know if he had any incidents or anything, as he went a little bit wide there, so a little bit compromised coming into this corner. But I've made a little bit of space on Speedy's. Yeah, a decent way behind me now, and he wasn't too close behind me when I went to the pits. Like as I showed before, he gave me that little bump on the straight. So yeah, I've made a bit of ground on the soft, so I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, and so I knew at this point, I'd seen what people had gone in on, and I knew at this point that Bob had mediums on, so I knew that if I just drove fast and drove clean, I'd be able to make a move on him at some point. But as I said before, the excuse me, the Nordschleife is really, really hard to pass on if you're not fully committing to a good point of the track to pass on, or if someone makes mistakes. So I just knew that I wanted to try and make a pass on the GP layout, because yeah, passing on the Nordschleife would be really difficult. So yeah, unfortunately he went a little bit wide coming out of the corner, so made a move there. But at this point I didn't know if he would send it up the inside, so I braked a little bit late, and fortunately he couldn't get past me. I had the inside for this corner, so he ended up having to go to the right of me, and then he could have made a move here, but he backs out. So I think he just sort of didn't want to take the risk of trying to send it up the inside of that corner. He could have done it very well, but just tucked him behind, so I was pretty happy that happened. Could have easily made it, yeah, could have given the position back if he'd had a better run into that corner, just because I'd missed my braking point. So yeah, up into 6th, so I've made two positions this race, which yeah, it's pretty good so far. And yeah, at this point I'm just trying to be quick. I'm quite a decent way behind Dank at the moment. Can't quite remember exactly the gap. Unfortunately the replays don't show you the gap, so I just don't have any indication of where I am. I suppose I could look at outlap, so 15, so I'm about, no, that doesn't make any sense. I was going to say I'm 45 seconds behind him. No, I'm not. So I'd say at this point I'm probably maybe 20 seconds behind, or maybe 15 seconds behind him. So not a insurmountable mountain of time. Actually, probably even less than that. Maybe 10 seconds behind him. So not impossible. But if everybody drives well, it's pretty difficult to make up that much time. So all I needed to do was just drive clean and drive fast, and hopefully up front they'd make a few mistakes. I just saw that Badge ended up coming down as a fifth, so he must have made a mistake at some point. I guess I can go back and watch what happened. So it goes a little bit wide. Gets a little bit of grass and touches Pity. Yeah, but unfortunately he got some grass on that corner, and yeah, very easy to do. So yeah, it goes off there, which is really unfortunate. He was doing pretty well. So yeah, so yeah, I noticed he did come down into 5th place, and so I knew that at this point up front they were battling. Everyone was sort of close to each other and battling, so all that does is pull me closer in, so I have a chance of catching them and making some other positions. So I knew at this point I just needed to drive consistently. I didn't want to push it too hard and make any mistakes. I didn't have anybody battling me. It was a pretty clean air. Bob's got a penalty and he's quite far behind me, so yeah, I've got some clean air, so I can drive well and just catch up to the back of them. So jumping forward to the end of lap 4, just running on board with Badge. There's a pretty good battle going on here for 2nd place between these guys. There's two podium spots up for grabs. Pity's right in behind these guys too, so yeah, it's a pretty good battle going on, and I think I could see on my tree that a lot of positions were about to change. So coming here into turn 1, I think Dank and Badge are both on softs, and they really want to get past Tricky, and Dank sees a pretty good opportunity up the inside in turn 2 on Tricky, and then Badge ends up falling in behind him, so it's a pretty good pass made. I think they were really trying to get past him because he's on the mediums and they know they've got the pace on him, so a pretty good pass. Yeah, and all this is doing really is letting me catch up to the back of them. So as you can see here, that's a better indication of how far behind I'm. So I'm about 10 seconds behind at this point. I think I was just paying attention to, as you can see them over on the other side of the fence there, so I could see them finally. I knew they were close, and all I'm trying to do is just catch up to the back of them, and that battle that's going on is just, all that's doing is bringing me closer to them. So, and I just keep driving consistently. Measured 8:19 that lap, so not the quickest. As I mentioned earlier, because I've come out with 4 laps to drive, I've got my fuel map open, which you can't see at the moment, but it's just an indication of how many laps of fuel I have left in my car, and I see that I've got a fuel save to make it to the end of the race. And the best way to fuel save is to not over rev the car, so short shift before your car over revs. So you can see a couple times I'll end up shifting before my rev limiter at the bottom gets to the end, so that's a really good way to save fuel. But it also means that on some of the straights, unfortunately on some of the straights, you need to actually over rev your car because your car doesn't make enough power in higher gears to overcome either the wind resistance or the incline, and you end up losing a lot of time or losing a lot of speed shifting into a higher gear. You do end up saving fuel, but you lose a lot of speed. So you'll see later down the lap, I actually end up having to shift into the 6th gear on some of the straights, and I lose time because I'm doing that. But all I'm trying to do at the moment is save fuel and make it to the end. I could shift into a higher fuel map, so a higher number of fuel map in this game reduces the amount of fuel going into your engine, and it reduces your fuel consumption, but it pretty much also just decreases your power output. So it's okay to use it on corners and things like that, but not great for straights. You lose a lot of speed doing that. So short shifting is pretty good for me, just to get me enough laps of fuel. But unfortunately, it just means that I have to shift up. So skipping forward a little bit more, I see that Tricky is in 5th now behind Pity. He's actually got a penalty as well, so something must have happened. So at this point, I think I see that the gap is coming down. I'm about 8 seconds behind him at this point. So yeah, I knew that I was catching him slowly, but I think because of my short shifting, I wasn't catching him as fast as I should have been catching him. So you'll see here, this part of the track you can see it's an incline, so you're going up. And typically here you just want to hold it fifth, and you want to keep over revving it because that keeps your speed up. But I change into six because it saves me my fuel, as I mentioned before. But I go from 241 to 239 shifting into six, so I lose a lot of speed going down the straight, and it just means that I'm not gaining or not maintaining the gap on the straight. So I end up losing time to the guys in front of me on the straights, and then gaining on the corners. Jumping forward to the straight on the last second to the last lap, I can see now in the distance there's Tricky and Pity in front of me. So yeah, all I'm trying to do at this point is reel him in, try and catch him on the last lap. The tyres are, as I said, they do pretty well, the softs on this track, for life, so the tyres are okay. They feel a little bit worn at this point. I'm not as quick as I was in the first few laps. Just setting my fastest lap, 8:18, so a couple seconds down on where I should be. I think the guys at the front are probably doing 8:14s, yeah, 8:11. 8:11 from Dang is bloody quick. So at this point, I'm pushing pretty hard. I'm trying to not go off, but I'm really trying to just send it forward. I'm trying to just make up as much ground as I can. So I've felt the grip level of the track. The track's as warm as it's going to get. It's about midday probably in real time. So you're going a little bit wide there, just braking a little bit too late. I think I was just pushing a little bit too hard there. That's another tricky corner to get right. There's a weird camber on that corner, which it's very easy to understeer on that corner and go straight into the wall on the outside, and it happens a lot to me on this track if I'm not used to the car and not used to where to brake on that corner. So yeah, coming into the back straight, I'm quite close to him now at this point, probably about 3 or 4 seconds behind him at this point, so quite close, but because I have to short shift, I lose a lot of speed on that corner, so I probably just lost another second or two. About 4 seconds now at this point, so I've lost a second on that straight, just short shifting. So I knew that I really had to make the most of this part of the track. As I said earlier, this part of the track I'm pretty confident on now, so I just really wanted to make the most of this and have a really good clean part of this track. So had a pretty good run through those corners. You can take a lot of curve on those corners, and you really have to try and keep a straight line through them. But it's a tricky part of the track to get right. There's a lot of bumps, there's a lot of curbs, there's a lot of runoffs, and it's really easy to understeer or hit a bump and get the wrong steering angle. This is another pretty tricky corner. Doesn't have a very obvious apex, so I've caught up a little bit to him. As you can see, I'm probably about 2 seconds behind him at this point, but I'm not close enough. I need to get a lot closer to him because going onto the straight, he's just going to gap me, given the Ferrari's speed. So I need to be a lot closer than I am. Just haven't made up enough time. And he's obviously done quite well, keeping his lap pace up. So I think at this point I knew I hadn't made up enough ground, and I don't even think I'd be in the slipstream being this far back. The slipstream is about 1.6 seconds. Like the gap between the cars needs to be 1.6 seconds for the slipstream to be active. That's just the rough, a rough gauge for where the line is. You'll obviously start feeling it the most at a second gap, but it does sort of extend a lot further than that. So at this point, I think I knew I wasn't close enough, because even if I had full slipstream, that Ferrari would probably be pulling away from me just based on how quick it is. So I was pretty much I'd accepted the fact that I wasn't going to catch him unless he bottled it in this last sector here. But I think that was just a dream at this point. And yeah, so 6th place, not too bad honestly, given I started in 8th, was it 8th or 9th? 8th position, I believe. So starting in 8th position and coming 6th, not too bad. Not the greatest, but still top half of the field, and not bad considering where I started. So yeah, not a bad finish. Would have liked to have a better qualifying, but unfortunately just got damage on the outlap, so it was really just a stupid mistake, and yeah, just meant I was starting quite far back in the field. So yeah, not a bad result. Coming off a 4th place, now 6th place, had some 2 decent results after the first 2 rounds. So yeah, knew I was getting better. I was improving. The practice was paying off, and yeah, just wanted to keep that momentum going forward, and yeah, hopefully get some good results coming on the next races. So yeah, that was the Nurburgring. Hope you enjoyed that race. The next race is on CGV, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. It's the F1 track. Not a track I knew a lot about going into the race. I'd done a little bit of practice on it, like when it was first released, but I hadn't raced it a lot, so I didn't know what to expect going into the race. So had to practice. That's all I knew, and I actually practiced quite a lot for that race. So yeah, I guess I'll wait and see for the next video how I go on that one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully the changes have been positive. Hopefully the mic is improved. Yeah, hopefully I'll just keep making these small improvements video by video, and yeah, hopefully they're for the better. So yeah, leave any suggestions in the comments, and otherwise I'll see you on the next race.